Hi and welcome to Veg. I'm your host, Kristen Zangline. Veg is a show that focuses solely on plant-based cooking, which means there's no meat, dairy, or eggs, but plenty of fruits, vegetables, and grains. Today's show, I'm going to be making an eggplant lasagna and some homemade garlic breadsticks with a side salad. So stick around. Welcome back. We're going to get started on our garlic breadsticks. In this bowl, I have 2½ cups of bread flour. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of oregano or Italian seasoning, your choice. Be crazy, do both. And this is 1 packet of active dry yeast, the fast rise kind. And it actually comes out to 2¼ teaspoons. Add that in there, and then we are going to whisk that up. Okay, now we're going to put the bowl on our mixer. And add our dough hook. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of water that is, it's not so hot that you can't touch it, but it's pretty warm. And we're going to add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Now we're just going to let this mix for probably about 3-4 minutes to get it all nice and elastic. Now I'm just going to check the dough. It looks a little crumbly. I might need to add a little bit more water. I'm just going to see if I can incorporate it. See if I can knead it a little bit by hand. Feels like there's enough moisture in here. It's just not grabbing at the bottom. Okay, give that a try. Mix this up for about, give it a couple of more minutes. We'll see how it goes. If you do not have a mixer, a stand mixer, you can always mix it by hand. You can knead it until it's nice and elastic. And if your dough is crumbly or just looks like it's not sticking together, you might need to add a little bit more water. Or if it's sticking to the bowl too much, you might need to add a little bit more flour. Ours looks like it's going to be just about perfect. It looks like our dough might be done. We're going to give it a little check here. Yeah, that looks good. It's nice and smooth and elastic. You can see that. Now we are going to cut this into 8 equal-ish pieces, so we can get 8 yummy breadsticks out of it. The smaller ones, if you can find the smaller ones, you can put those towards the edges of the pan. I'm using I believe this is a 15-inch cast iron pan. And these turn out great in this pan. I love to bake breads in my cast iron pans. I'm just giving them a little twist now. They don't look very appealing right now, but trust me, they are going to be perfect. After we get these set in the pan, we need to let them rise for about 25-30 minutes until they've almost doubled in size. or double in size. I don't know if I've actually ever had them completely double because they'll puff up some in the oven too. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're just going to cover these with a towel and let them rise, and then we'll check on them again. And when we come back, I'm going to start on our lasagna, so stick around. Welcome back. We're going to get started on our lasagna. So first of all, we have to make a tofu ricotta. If you've never worked with tofu before, it comes in a tub full of water. So you have to drain the water, and then you have this nice little block of tofu. So I kind of squeezed it a little bit. It's still, as you can see, just very wet. Try and squeeze as much water out of it as you can without breaking it all up, which doesn't really matter because we're going to actually break it all up in the food processor. So to make our tofu ricotta, it gets a similar texture. The taste, I haven't had it in so long, but I think it's okay. If you're used to regular ricotta, you might be off put, but I'm not sure. So just give it a try and you might love it. You never know. So here's the tofu, and then we're going to add a teaspoon of lemon juice. And this is about a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and then about a teaspoon of garlic salt. Put that in there. And then this is 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and it kind of has a little bit of a cheesy flavor. So this is what gives us our cheesy flavor in our ricotta. And I think I'm just going to use a tablespoon. That looked like that's plenty. Too much of it, and if you're not a fan of it, you're not going to like it. And then I am going to add, this is probably about 4 cups of greens. So this is a spinach and baby kale mix. It's actually a smoothie blend that I found. I'm gonna squish all of that in there. If it'll all fit. Okay. See how it goes. Oof, all right. Well, our lasagna noodles are done. Perfect. So that kind of looks like ricotta. It smells cheesy and delightful to me. Now we're going to start cutting up our vegetables. I'm going to use 1 whole onion. Just dice it. And 1 whole zucchini. I'm going to cut it in half. And these look like they're about 1/4 inches wide, little chunks. And then next, we have, this is about 12 to 16 ounces of mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to use them. That's the beauty of this dish. You can put any, you could add asparagus would be good, some kale, sauteed kale. Now we're going to saute our vegetables. Start with the onion. If you can see, the pan is starting to get a little bit brown, so I'm just going to add a little water, and that deglazes the pan and it gets all those delightful brown taste. I don't know what that taste is, but it's super good. Now we're going to add the zucchini. The onions look all brown, and that is because of the concentrated flavoring that we just released from the pan. So now all that delightful flavor is in your onions. We're going to cook our mushrooms just until they start to get squeaky. I hope you can hear what it sounds like. They start to release their juices and it makes a squeak in the pan. It's kind of fun. Okay, I think that's good. Just keep stirring until the pan cools off a little bit. All right, the mushrooms have just started to release their juices. That's good. For the eggplant, you can either make your own breaded eggplant, but I have found this brand of breaded eggplant, and I think it's 16 ounces. And there's no egg and no milk. It's plant-based, so I think it's worth it. Time saver just to buy the frozen if you can find it. I got mine at our local natural food store, which is the same place you can find the nutritional yeast that we used in our tofu ricotta. Nutritional yeast is not very easy to find for some reason. But I know you can order it online. So I'm just cubing these up into bite-sized chunks, and this is still frozen, so they're pretty easy to cut up. And the breading stays on, which is nice. I'm running out of cutting board. If you don't like eggplant, leave it out. You can put all of your normal, you can put any vegetable in a plant-based lasagna. I do recommend trying to get draining all of the juices, sauteing your vegetables first and then straining them. Otherwise you're gonna have a very liquidy, loose lasagna. And I put a little base of sauce on the bottom. I've coated my dish. My dish is a little bit bigger than a 9 by 13. It's a little bit wider at the top. Just kind of coat that around there. And then we're going to start layering. I have my noodles soaking in cold water so they quit cooking. We're gonna lay 4 across the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to do half of my tofu ricotta. Half of our onion and zucchini. Actually, I think I'm just going to put it all in there. And then the next layer will be the mushrooms and the rest of the ricotta. Oh, actually, we're going to put half of our eggplant in there now too. Forgot about the eggplant, and it's eggplant lasagna. It looks about half-ish. Spread it out evenly so every bite gets some yummy eggplant. Now we're going to put our next layer on. Actually, I think I'm going to dot it a little bit with some sauce. Just a little bit. Now our next layer of 4 noodles. Okay, so now all we have to do is just cover this with foil, pop it in the oven for about 30, 35, 40 minutes on 375. What you are looking for is to see if it's nice and bubbly and starting to get a little bit crusty on the edges, just like a normal lasagna. So when we come back, we're going to check on our breadsticks and we're going to work on our salad. Checking on our breadsticks, they look like they've doubled in size and they look super good. We are going to brush them with about a tablespoon of butter and about a half teaspoon of garlic salt. And this is Earth Balance butter, not actual butter. Just brush those on. And then if you like them super buttery and super garlicky, you can add more halfway through the cooking or towards the end. A couple times I found that I didn't add enough garlic salt or garlic, so I sprinkled it on the butter. Just sprinkle it across the top and that did the trick. So these are going to go into a 475-degree oven until they are golden brown and have risen some more, and that takes about 20-25 minutes, I believe. I will let you know when we're done. Okay, I'm going to pop these in the oven and then we'll work on the salad. This salad to go with our lasagna and breadsticks could not be any easier. In this container, I have a 1/4 cup of oil, olive oil, and a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Here is a mix of, there's sugar and some spices, oregano, basil, onion powder, and it's about a 1/4 teaspoon of each. And we're gonna put that in there. And we need to crush up some garlic. You just smash it and then the peel comes right off. Oops, so does some of the garlic. Now we just mince this up. Or if you have a garlic press, you could press your garlic. Probably go a little faster and easier. so sticky it just sticks to the knife. All right, probably should be a little bit. Probably should be a little bit more finely minced than that, but we're gonna go with it. Now we just have to mix it up. Well, looks pretty good. All right. We have some pepperoncinis, which are just a very mild pepper. And we have some Kalamata olives, which I guess are Greek and not Italian, but I like them way better than black olives. Now we're gonna dice up a couple tomatoes. They were supposed to be Roma tomatoes, but my grocery store failed me. The Roma tomatoes look terrible. It's not really tomato season. This would be great in the summertime with some fresh tomatoes right from the garden, as all salads taste better with fresh tomatoes. And dice them up. This is a normal serrated knife. It works really well on my tomatoes. I have a tomato knife, but I think it's almost too sharp and it just snags across the skin. All right, we have some good tomatoes here and some pepperoncini. So we're just gonna take a bowl of our greens. Maybe put a couple pepperoncinis in there. Put a couple tomatoes in there. A few olives. And then we're just gonna top it with our dressing. Easy peasy. Our lasagna and breadsticks are perfectly baked. I baked it for about 30 minutes. I took off the foil and baked it for another 5, and now I'm just gonna let it set up for about 10 minutes and then I'm gonna plate it for you. Here's our eggplant lasagna, garlic breadstick, and side salad. Thanks for watching Veg. Join me again next time for more delicious plant-based cooking.